Although everyone thought that Leclerc would be Verstappen's primary challenger for the 2023 season, he isn't likely to be the team's number one choice after all. After Binotto was replaced by Frédéric Vasseur, many thought that Leclerc's former boss would love to have the Monegasque as the leader of the team, with Sainz obeying the team rules. However, this doesn't seem to be the truth, as Vasseur has literally shattered Leclerc's hopes for 2023 with one statement only. Worse, he isn't even a guaranteed pick in Ferrari from 2024 onwards, as he is expected to leave for Mercedes. Leclerc has emerged as the better driver in 2022 for Ferrari, and although the team was haunted by reliability issues and tactical blunders, the Monegasque had a solid season and showed the world that there is a bit of championship material inside his body that needs to be properly molded. Vasseur would be the right man to do this job, but it seems like this wouldn't turn out to be the truth after all, as the Frenchman has set his priorities straight. Many people seem to forget that Vasseur and Sainz worked together back in 2017 at Renault, and the Frenchman had a lot of praise for the smooth operator. Sainz is a driver who demonstrated his independence on numerous occasions in 2022 when the team wanted him to do something, but he recognized that it was the wrong thing to do. More precisely, let's take Silverstone and Monaco into consideration, where Sainz defied team calls and did what he thought was right. The outcome of those races was P1 and P2 respectively, and Monaco would have been P1 as well hadn't it been for Albon slowing him down after he exited the pit stops. When talking about Sainz and their relationship, Vasseur said, "We have always had a very good relationship. I trust him, and I think he showed in the last couple of years that he is potential winner. But it's very important for the team that we don't have a number one and a number two. The organization is crystal clear, but they have to do their job, and if at any stage I have to take action for Carlos and for Charles, I will do it." But this is hardly the statement that made Leclerc mad, as Vasseur said some things that he would be very angry at. Leclerc is a driver who hasn't really shown any kind of potential in 2022 when it comes to decision making, and he was very reliant on his team to make the calls. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we've seen that even with other teams, such as Mercedes and Zandvoort, making your own calls is crucial for you to have a good race and potentially a championship-winning season. However, it appears that Leclerc's time at Ferrari is limited, and the team will evaluate both drivers in 2023 before deciding whether Leclerc's contract should be extended beyond 2024. This is something that Vasseur spoke about, as he further elaborated, "I know both drivers quite well, and I think we still have some time before we start talking about the future. For me today, this is not the number one priority. We have to start the season very well, then there will be time for the rest. I think it would be a mistake to start negotiations at a time when the priority is another one. If Leclerc's contract isn't prolonged, then rest assured that one team that would be more than happy to utilize this situation would be Mercedes. Wolff knows that Hamilton's time for retirement will come sooner rather than later, and what better driver to replace him than Leclerc? Well, this is surely something that Leclerc didn't plan on working out with the team ahead of the 2023 season. It seems like Ferrari isn't really ready to go all in on Leclerc, mostly because they believe in Sainz's potential as well. After all, Ferrari has one of the most competitive driver pairings in the sport, and if there is a team that is riddled with mystery and doubt about who is the better driver, it has to be Ferrari. Remember, Leclerc is the one that got outperformed by Sainz in the first season in Ferrari in 2021, and although the Monegasque made an amazing recovery in 2022 and went on to be a championship contender at one point, Sainz picked up the pace in the second half of the season and is now a serious threat to the number one spot of the team. However, for both of them to do so, they need a fast and reliable car. This is something that Vasseur has further spoken about, and he has shrugged off the talks that their car will have a 30 horsepower boost for the upcoming season. This is something that is, yet again, bad news for Leclerc, because now that both of them will have a competitive car that won't be able to win championships, the playing field between them will be leveled, and he could lose the direct battle to Sainz. When talking about the expectations from Ferrari in 2023, Vasseur added, "Regarding the engine, the numbers, I don't know where those numbers are coming from, but it's just a joke. We have made some step for power units, but it's just about reliability. I think the performance last year was not an issue at all, but the issue was the reliability, and the first target is to fix it. So far, it looks okay, but the reality on the track is a different perspective. I think that a couple of issues that the team suffered from, and it's not only true for Ferrari in terms of reliability, are also coming from the bouncing and vibration. Everybody will have a much better picture in Bahrain. And yes, keep in mind that the FIA issued a statement saying that bouncing and porpoising will not be eradicated by 2023, primarily because they are unsure whether raising the edges and the floor will be enough to combat the phenomenon. Therefore, the reliability issues could be back sooner rather than later for the Maranello team, as Vizier said that the main thing that causes them is the vibrations and the bouncing. So it seems like Leclerc will have a very interesting period ahead of them, and although you'd think that things couldn't get worse, they just did for Leclerc. First, Vizier said that the team doesn't rush when it comes to extending his deal, and after that, Vizier said that there won't be any preferences between him and Sainz when it comes to being number 1 and number 2 in the team for the upcoming season. Sainz is overjoyed to hear this, but it appears that the Spaniard knew all along that Vizier had something in store for him, given that they both worked together at Renault in 2017. On top of that, Vizier said that he wanted to bring Sainz to Sauber once he was appointed as the team boss there, but once he figured out that was impossible, he said that the best way to collaborate with Sainz is to join the team that he races for. Therefore, one of the reasons why Vizier joined Ferrari isn't just Leclerc's influence, but Sainz's presence as well. When talking about the preferences that Vizier will have for Ferrari from 2023 on, he said, "I think it's the same everywhere that we have two very good drivers, and both of them are able to do the job. We will have the capacity to provide them with exactly the same car and the same structure and the same support." What is clear is that the target is to win with Ferrari. There will be no number 1 or number 2. But if at one stage we have to take action, I will take action. It doesn't matter if it's one or the other, but if at one stage in the season I have to do something, then I will do it. So what should Leclerc do in this situation? Obviously, he will have 2 challenges ahead of him. The first one being outperforming Sainz in the same machinery, and the second one being challenging Verstappen for the championship. Both of them are equally hard and demanding, but if there is any driver on the grid that can do this, that has to be Leclerc. Sure, he has shown some insecurities in 2022, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should throw away his talent and his speed just because he trusted the team too much. After all, Vizier has praised Binotto for everything that he's done for the team, for the smooth transition, and for the way that he's been able to fill the Frenchman in quickly on how things currently stand in the team. While Vizier may not have the engineering backup like Binotto, he can go on and show the world that he is definitely a better manager compared to the Swiss, which is one thing that Ferrari expects will happen in the 2023 season. With that said, what are your thoughts on Leclerc and his potential departure from Ferrari in 2024? Let us know in the comments below.